What if I told you there are 5 sentences, simple words that could completely rewire your life in just 24 hours? And no, this isn't some fake law of attraction hype. This is deeper. This is about how the words you repeat to yourself silently shape your reality, whether you realize it or not. Think about the last time you felt stuck. Maybe it was money, relationships, or just feeling like life wasn't moving forward. Now, what if the reason you're stuck isn't because of what's happening around you, but because of what's happening inside you? The way you talk to yourself, the words you believe, literally creates your future. And today we're breaking down 5 sentences that, if you start using them right now, can flip your entire life in a day. Not exaggerating. Let's go. Your word is your wand, how what you say shapes reality. You've probably heard someone say, words have power, but most people don't really believe it. They think it's just a nice idea, something motivational speakers say to sound wise. But what if I told you this isn't philosophy, it's physics? Your words don't just describe your reality, they create it. Every sentence you say out loud or in your head is a command to your nervous system, a blueprint for your subconscious. Think about it. When you say, I'm terrible with money, your brain doesn't debate it. It accepts it as truth and starts arranging your life to prove you right. You'll overlook opportunities, make fear-based decisions, and reinforce the exact reality you claimed. Now flip it. Say, money comes to me easily, and something shifts. At first, it might feel like a lie, but your brain is a pattern recognition machine. It has to start looking for evidence to match the new story. And when it finds even a sliver of proof, a refund, a bonus, a lucky break, it files it away as confirmation. Over time, the new belief becomes automatic. That's not magic, that's how your mind works. Let's go deeper. Imagine 2 people in the same job, with the same skill. One says, I'll never get promoted. The other says, I'm ready for more responsibility. Who do you think the boss notices? It's not about manifesting your way to success. It's about priming your brain to see and seize what's already there. The person who believes they're stuck will miss chances to learn, avoid speaking up in meetings, and radiate frustration. The one who believes they're growing, they'll volunteer for projects, ask for feedback, and carry themselves like someone who's moving up. Same environment, different words, different outcomes. This is why the ancient teachers said your word is your wand, not because you can wish things into existence, but because your language dictates your focus dictates your actions, and your actions dictate your life. Now let's talk about the opposite, how negative words act like slow poison. Say someone constantly complains, nothing ever works out for me. At first it's just venting, but repeat it enough, and the brain starts shutting down possibilities before they even appear. A job opening? I wouldn't get it anyway. A potential relationship? They'll probably reject me. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And the scariest part, most people don't even realize they're doing it. They think they're just being realistic. But realism is often just pessimism in disguise. The truth is, the world isn't fixed. It's fluid. And your words are the hands that shape it. So how do you change this? First, listen to yourself. For one day, pay attention to every sentence you say, especially the casual ones. I'm so bad at this. I always mess up. This always happens to me. Those aren't observations, they're incantations. Then replace them. Not with empty affirmations, but with declarations. Instead of, I'm terrible at saving money, try, I'm learning to manage money wisely. See the difference? One locks you in place, the other opens a door. This isn't about denying reality, it's about choosing which reality you amplify. Because here's the secret, every moment you're casting spells with your words. The question is, are they curses or creation? I am infinite supply. The money shift. Money is energy. That's not a metaphor, it's how the universe operates. Yet most people treat money like a limited resource, like there's only so much to go around. They say things like, money doesn't grow on trees, or I can't afford that, and never realize those words are programming their entire financial reality. But what if you flipped the script? What if you started saying, I am infinite supply? At first it might feel ridiculous. You might think, I have $20 in my bank account, how is this infinite? But that's missing the point. The phrase isn't about your current balance, it's about your identity. When you say, I am infinite supply, you're not describing your bank account, you're describing yourself. You're telling the universe and your subconscious, but you're not a beggar waiting for scraps. You're a conduit for abundance. And that shift changes everything. Here's how it works in practice. Imagine two people at a grocery store. One is stressing over prices, thinking, this is too expensive. I shouldn't even be here. The other is calm, thinking, I always have enough. Who do you think spots the sale no one else noticed? Who remembers the side hustle idea their friend mentioned? Who gets the unexpected refund in the mail? It's not luck, it's focus. The first person is tuned to lack, so they see more lack. The second is tuned to flow, so they see flow. And the more they see it, the more it appears. This isn't law of attraction fluff. It's neuroscience. Your brain filters out 99% of the information around you and only lets in what matches your beliefs. So if you believe money is scarce, you'll miss opportunities right in front of you. If you believe it's abundant, you'll start noticing paths you never saw before. Now, let's address the biggest objection. But my bills are real, my debt is real. How can I pretend otherwise? No one's asking you to pretend. This isn't about ignoring reality, it's about transforming it. Saying, I am infinite supply, isn't denial, it's direction. It's deciding that your current situation isn't your final destination. For example, instead of panicking over a bill and thinking, I'll never get out of this, try, solutions are coming. That slight shift does something powerful. It moves you from victim to creator. Victims freeze, creators act. And action, any action, changes your trajectory. Maybe you negotiate a payment plan. Maybe you sell something you don't need. Maybe an old client reaches out. The point is, when you operate from abundance, you move differently, and movement creates momentum. Finally, let's talk about gratitude, the secret accelerator of I am infinite supply. Most people think gratitude is just about being polite. Wrong. Gratitude is a magnet. When you focus on what you have, even if it's small, you emit a frequency that attracts more. It's like the universe says, oh, you appreciate this, here's more. But when you focus on what's missing, you stay stuck in the cycle of not enough. So try this. At the end of each day, name 3 money-related things you're grateful for. Maybe it's the coffee you could afford, the free parking spot, or the friend who paid for lunch. The amount doesn't matter, the energy does. Over time, this practice rewires your brain to see abundance everywhere. And when you see it, you become it. Every delay is divine timing. Trusting the process. There is a moment, just before frustration takes over, when you have a choice. The job offer doesn't come when you expected. The relationship doesn't progress the way you hoped. The project you poured yourself into gets delayed. And in that moment, the mind splits into 2 paths. The first is familiar. This shouldn't be happening. Why me? What did I do wrong? It's a spiral, one that pulls you deeper into resistance, into fighting against reality. But there's another path, one that requires a shift in perception. What if the delay isn't a denial? What if it's protection? What if it's redirection? This is where the phrase, every delay is divine timing comes in. It's not about blind optimism or pretending that waiting feels good. It's about recognizing that life operates on a rhythm far larger than your immediate desires. Think of it like this. When a farmer plants a seed, he doesn't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. He trusts the process, the soil, the rain. He knows that forcing it won't make it grow faster. In fact, it might kill it. Human beings, though, we want to rip open the seed, demand to see progress, and declare failure if it doesn't happen on our schedule. But what if the waiting is part of the growth? Consider the times in your life when something didn't work out the way you wanted. Maybe you didn't get into the school you dreamed of, only to later realize it led you to a better path. Maybe a relationship ended, and years later, you saw how staying would have trapped you in misery. At the time, it felt like a loss. But in hindsight, it was life moving you out of the way of something worse or towards something better. This is the essence of divine timing. It's the understanding that you don't always see the full picture, but the universe does. And sometimes what feels like a delay is actually life aligning things behind the scenes in a way you couldn't have orchestrated yourself. So how do you practice this? First, you must become aware of your resistance. When something doesn't happen on your timeline, notice the thoughts that arise. This is taking too long. I'm falling behind. They're passing me by. These are fear-based narratives, and they only create suffering. Instead, pause and ask, what if this delay is serving me? You don't have to know the answer. Just asking the question shifts your energy from frustration to curiosity, and curiosity opens doors that resistance slams shut. Second, look for evidence in your own life. Reflect on past disappointments that turned into blessings. Maybe you missed a flight, only to avoid an accident. Maybe you didn't get the job, and then a better opportunity appeared. These aren't coincidences. They're proof that life has its own intelligence. The more you train yourself to see this, the easier it becomes to trust when things don't go as planned. Finally, surrender control, not by giving up, but by focusing on what you can influence. You can't force a job offer, a promotion, or someone's feelings, but you can prepare, improve, and stay open. Action without attachment, effort without expectation. This is how you align with divine timing, not by passively waiting, but by actively trusting. I am unstoppable because I say I am. The confidence switch. Confidence is not something you find. It's not something you earn. It's something you declare. Most people get this backward. They think confidence comes after success, after the promotion, after the perfect body, after the applause. But that's an illusion. Confidence isn't the result of achievement. It's the cause of. And the simplest, most powerful way to access it is through a single sentence. I am unstoppable because I say I am. At first glance, this might sound like empty affirmation, but dig deeper, and you'll realize it's a neurological command. Your brain doesn't distinguish between what's real and what you repeat as real. Tell yourself you're incapable, and your nervous system will respond with hesitation, self-doubt, and physical tension. Tell yourself you're unstoppable, and something shifts. Your posture straight, your voice steadies, your focus sharpens. This isn't magic. It's biology. Words create chemical reactions in the body. They shape your state, and your state shapes your action. Think of the last time you faced a challenge. Maybe it was a presentation, a difficult conversation, or a risk you needed to take. What was your inner dialogue? I hope I don't mess up. What if they don't like me? I'm not ready. Now imagine replacing those whispers with I am unstoppable because I say I am. Not as a boast, but as a reminder, a reset button for your mindset. The difference is palpable. One keeps you small, braced for failure. The other propels you forward, open to possibility. This isn't about ignoring weaknesses or pretending you have no fear. It's about choosing which voice in your head gets the microphone. Fear will always whisper, but you decide whether to amplify it or override it. And the more you practice this override, the more natural it becomes. Consider how athletes train. Before a race, a fighter doesn't think, I hope I don't lose. They affirm, I am ready, I am strong, this is mine. They don't wait for the win to feel confident. They use confidence to fuel the win. The same applies to you. Whether it's asking for a raise, starting a business, or stepping into a new version of yourself, you don't wait until you feel ready. You declare readiness, and then your behavior aligns with it. The key is repetition, not just saying the words once, but making them your default. When doubt creeps in, respond with, I am unstoppable because I say I am. When failure happens, because it will remind yourself, this doesn't define me. I am still unstoppable. Over time, this isn't just a phrase, it becomes your identity, and identity dictates action. So today, try it. Before your next challenge, big or small, say it out loud. Not as a wish, but as a fact. Then watch how your body, your energy, and your results begin to match the declaration. Because confidence isn't something you wait for, it's something you choose. My world reflects my beliefs. Taking responsibility. There's a moment, sometimes so subtle you miss it, when you have a choice between blaming the world or examining yourself. It happens when a relationship fails, when money stays tight, when opportunities seem to slip through your fingers. The easy path is to point outward. It's their fault. The system is rigged. Bad luck follows me. And in the short term, blame feels good. It cushions the ego, protects the identity. But there's a cost. Every time you blame, you give away your power. You become a passenger in your own life, subject to forces you refuse to understand. Now consider the alternative. My world reflects my beliefs. This isn't about self-punishment or pretending you control everything. It's about recognizing the invisible threads between your inner world and outer reality. Your beliefs are like lenses. They filter what you see, what you notice, and how you interpret events. If you believe people can't be trusted, you'll see betrayal everywhere, even in neutral action. If you believe money is hard to earn, you'll overlook simple ways to create it. Your beliefs shape your perceptions shape your actions, and your actions shape your life. This is why two people can experience the same event and walk away with entirely different stories. The event is neutral. The meaning you assign to it, that's where your power lies. Let's take a concrete example. Imagine two coworkers passed over for a promotion. One thinks, I'm not good enough. They don't respect me. The other thinks, this means something better is coming. I'll ask for feedback and improve. The first person's belief leads to resentment, disengagement, maybe even self-sabotage. The second's leads to growth, new skills, and eventually, a better position. Same situation, different beliefs, different outcomes. This is how your world reflects your mind. Not because the universe is punishing or rewarding you, but because your beliefs determine what you do or don't do next. So how do you change this? First, you must become a detective of your own thinking. When you notice a recurring problem, toxic relationships, financial lack, missed opportunities, ask, what do I truly believe about this? Not the surface-level answer, but the deep, often unconscious script running in the background. For example, someone who keeps attracting unreliable partners might uncover a belief like, I don't deserve real love. Someone stuck in scarcity might find, rich people are selfish. These aren't facts, they're stories, and stories can be rewritten. The rewriting starts with awareness. You can't change what you don't see. Then you introduce a new belief, not as a lie, but as an experiment. If your old belief is money is hard to get, try money flows to me in unexpected ways. At first, it'll feel false. That's normal. Your mind resists change. But as you repeat the new belief, look for tiny pieces of evidence to support it. A refund you forgot about, a free meal, a sudden opportunity. The more you collect these proofs, the more the new belief takes root. And as it does, your world must shift to match. This isn't about blaming yourself for past struggles. It's about empowering yourself to create future change. When you accept that your world reflects your beliefs, you stop waiting for luck or miracle. You realize the most powerful force in your life isn't outside you, it's the thoughts you choose to nurture every day. I release what no longer serves me. The letting go rule. There's a weight we carry without realizing. It's not physical, but it drags us down just the same. Old resentments, past mistakes, relationships that ended but still live in our minds. Goals we think we should want but don't. We hold on to these things like they're treasures, when in truth, they're anchored. And the moment you say, I release what no longer serves me, something shifts. It's not magic, it's the simple act of giving yourself permission to stop carrying what you were never meant to hold. Think about a time you clung to something long after it was over. A job, a friendship, a version of yourself. Maybe you told yourself it was loyalty, or maybe fear. What if nothing better comes, but deep down you knew the energy was gone, the fit was wrong, yet you stayed, forcing it, draining yourself. Now imagine if at the first sign of misalignment, you'd said, I release what no longer serves me. How much time, how much life would you have reclaimed? This phrase isn't about quitting at the first challenge. It's about discernment, knowing the difference between something difficult that's worth your energy and something that's simply draining you because you're afraid to let go. The first strengthens you, the second diminishes you, and your body knows the difference. Stress from growth feels like stretching uncomfortable, but alive. Stress from clinging feels like suffocation. So how do you practice this? Start with the physical. Look around your space. What are you holding on to just in case? Clothes you don't wear, gifts you don't like, paperwork you'll never need. These aren't just objects, they're symbols of clinging. Each time you release one, you send a message to your subconscious. I trust that what I need will come when I need it. Then move inward. What mental baggage are you carrying? Grudges from years ago, shame over old mistakes. ideas about who you should be. Here's the truth. Holding on to these doesn't change the past. It only robs the present. Try this. Write down one thing you're ready to release. Then burn it, tear it up, or simply say aloud, I release you. Notice the lightness that follows. Finally, relationships. Not all connections are meant to last forever. Some people are chapters, not lifelong characters. When a relationship feels heavy more than light, when you're giving more than receiving, when you've grown in different directions, it's okay to say I release you with love. This doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop forcing what's no longer aligned. The beauty of I release what no longer serves me is that it creates space. Space for new opportunities, new relationships, new versions of yourself. Because here's the secret the universe knows. Nothing new can come until you let go of the old. Not out of anger, but with gratitude for what it taught you, and the courage to trust what's next. I attract what I am, not what I want. The magnet secret. There is a fundamental misunderstanding about how attraction works in life. Most people believe it is about pursuit, about wanting something so intensely that the universe eventually hands it to them. They chase love, success, validation, thinking that if they just try hard enough, if they just prove themselves worthy enough, what they desire will finally come to them. But this is backward. The truth is far simpler and far more profound. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who desperately wanted love, but kept finding themselves in empty or painful relationships? Or someone who chased success, but remained stuck in cycles of near misses and frustration? This happens because energy does not respond to want. It responds to being. The person who craves love, but operates from neediness or insecurity, does not attract love. They attract more of the energy they are already in, more lack, more instability, more. The person who chases success, but secretly believes they are unworthy, does not attract success. They attract more situations that reinforce their unworthiness. This is why the phrase, I attract what I am, not what I want, is so powerful. It forces you to turn your attention inward. If you want love, you must first become love, not in a vague, abstract way, but in the way you treat yourself, the way you move through the world. Do you speak to yourself with kindness? Do you set boundaries that honor your worth? Do you give without expecting to be filled by others? These are not just nice ideas, they are the foundation of what you attract. The same applies to success. If you want respect, you must first respect yourself. If you want abundance, you must first embody the feeling of being abundant, not by pretending but by recognizing the abundance that already exists in your life and acting from that place. This is not about faking it till you make it, it is about alignment. The universe does not respond to words, it responds to vibration, and your vibration is not determined by what you say you want, it is determined by what you believe, how you act, and who you are at your core. So the question is not, how do I get what I want, but who do I need to become to naturally attract it? This shift changes everything. Instead of exhausting yourself by chasing, you focus on cultivating the energy you wish to receive. If you want peace, you practice being peaceful. If you want joy, you practice finding joy in small moments. If you want financial freedom, you practice feeling abundant now, not when some future condition is met, but today in the way you handle money, in the way you appreciate what you have. Over time, this inner shift begins to rearrange your outer world. People respond different, opportunities appear, synchronicities happen, not because you forced them, but because you became a match for them. So today, ask yourself, what energy am I currently radiating? Not what you want to radiate, but what you actually are. Be brutally honest, then make the decision to adjust, not for a moment, not as a performance, but as a real sustained way of being. Because the law is absolute, you cannot attract what you are not. But when you become it, what you desire has no choice but to find you. Today is my creation, the daily reset. Most people live their days as if they are passengers. They wake up, check their phones, react to whatever messages or news they find, and let the world dictate their mood, their focus, their energy. By the time they've had their coffee, the day has already happened to them. They are playing defense, responding to external forces rather than consciously shaping their experience. But there is another way, a way where you do not wait for the day to dictate how you feel. You decide how you feel, and the day bends to meet you. This is the power of the phrase, "Today is my creation." It begins the moment you wake up. Before you reach for your phone, before you engage with the outside world, you have a choice. Will you let the day define you, or will you define the day? This is not about ignoring reality or pretending challenges don't exist. It is about recognizing that while you cannot control everything that happens, you can control how you respond, and that response is what shapes your experience. Think about a morning where everything seemed to go wrong. Maybe you slept through your alarm, spilled your coffee, got stuck in traffic. For most people, this becomes the story of the day. Nothing is going right. This day is ruined. But what if instead, you paused and said, "I choose how this day goes"? Not as denial, but as a reclaiming of power. The spilled coffee? A minor inconvenience, not a catastrophe. The traffic? A chance to listen to something inspiring. The tone of the day shifts. Not because the circumstances changed, but because you did. This is the essence of "Today is my creation." It is the understanding that every day is a blank page, and you are the author. Most people wait for external validation, for good news, for someone to make them happy, for conditions to be perfect, before they allow themselves to feel peace or joy. But the truth is, you do not need permission to feel these things. You can decide them, right now. This does not mean suppressing emotions or pretending to be happy when you're not. It means recognizing that your emotions are not dictated by events. They are dictated by your interpretation of events. Two people can experience the same setback. One sees it as a disaster, the other as a detour. The difference is not in what happened, but in how they framed it. So how do you practice this? Start small. When something doesn't go as planned, pause and ask, what meaning am I giving this? Is this truly a problem, or is it just a situation that I'm choosing to see as a problem? Then, consciously reframe it. Not with empty positivity, but with a focus on what you can control. A flat tire is inconvenient, but it is also an opportunity to practice patience. A difficult conversation is uncomfortable, but it is also a chance to strengthen your communication. Over time, this becomes automatic. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of your days, and start seeing yourself as their creator. And the most powerful part, the more you do this, the more the external world begins to align with your internal state. People respond to your energy. Opportunities arise from your mindset. The day doesn't happen to you, you happen to it. So tomorrow morning, before you do anything else, say these words. "Today is my creation." Then live as if it's true, because it is. So which of these 5 sentences hit you the hardest? Pick one, just one, and try it today. Say it out loud, write it down, see what shifts. And if this video helped you, hit subscribe. One click, and you'll get more of these. That's it. Now go rewrite your life.